Mel, thanks for stopping by.
Well, thank you.
So from our last conversation on Success Talks, we talked about the role that the 5-second rule plays in our brains.
Yes.
Our confidence and even our anxieties.
Yes.
So I know we covered a lot of ground in that interview. So I want to follow up on a few specific topics. So first, though, to recap, we explained the 5-second rule for us.
Yes, real quick. It's super simple. It's going to sound kind of stupid. You can use it immediately once you hear it. The moment you have an instinct to act on a goal, or you know you should do something, but you feel yourself hesitate, just count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That'll switch the gears in your mind. It'll activate your prefrontal cortex. Boom, when you hit 1, go. There's a 5-second window between your instincts that change your life and your mind killing them. So it's critical that you learn how to wake up and take control in that moment. And you know, the 5-second rule is going to help you do that as a tool for change and for making powerful decisions.
So you say that our brains are built to protect us from change and the scary things in life.
Yes.
But to hone on the point that these are our brains. So what does our body do in those instances when we're faced with those scary things in life?
Well, so one of my favorite uses of the 5-second rule is to use it for mind control. And I say that with a complete straight face.
Right. Not
okay? So I used to be someone that suffered from tremendous anxiety. I took Zoloft for 20 years after panic attacks started in law school. And Zoloft was a wonderful drug for me to take. I kind of thought about anxiety a lot like, all right, if I were diabetic, I would take insulin. There's no shame in mental health. We've all got something going on. Take the drugs, stabilize your body, and get on with your life. And about 4 years ago, I started to wonder, and you know, this is a personal story, I started to wonder, could I use the 5-second rule to actually control my thoughts? Could I use it to cure myself of anxiety? Now, the answer is yes, you can, and yes, you should. But the reason why I was inspired to do this is because, like so many of you, I have kids. 2 of our 3 kids struggle with anxiety. We have a 17, a 16, and an 11-year-old. And for our 16 and our 11-year-old, right around the time they were 10, they both had these really acute moments of anxiety where they could no longer do sleepovers. They were limiting what they were doing. I mean, it's so sad when you see a little kid starting to edit their experiences in life because of their thoughts.
Right.
And so I thought about 4 years ago, okay, if I really want to help my kids deal with anxiety, maybe it's time for me, Mel Robbins, to come off of Zoloft and try this 5-second rule and learn everything that I can about neuroscience and anxiety and how it works and what it is and what it isn't and the connection between the feelings in your body and what your brain does, so that I can help my kids, right? Because it's it's not really fair if mom's on Zoloft going, oh, change your thoughts.
Right.
But if I teach myself how to deal with the worries and the panic and the anxiety that I used to struggle with, maybe I could help them. So here's what I did. First, you have to understand what anxiety is, and you have to understand the connection between worry, which is something we all do, and self-doubt, which is something we all do, and anxiety. So we all have a habit of worrying. And just for the sake of this conversation, habits are behaviors that you repeat when you're not paying attention. So believe it or not, it's not just nail biting or tapping a pencil. A habit is even when you back up your car in the morning, if you look over your right shoulder, that's a habit. It's behavior that's been automated in your brain. And worrying is a habit. Worrying is a pattern of thinking that you default to when you're not paying attention. When you're not paying attention, you're sitting in a meeting, it's very easy. Have you ever noticed how your thoughts just drift? And you start thinking about, oh my gosh, is my loved one okay? Oh, I wonder if I'm in trouble. Like you start immediately thinking and worrying, and we just kind of default there. And so the connection between worry and anxiety is close cousins. Anxiety is what happens when your habit of worrying spirals out of control. Your habit, it's just like drinking. You might start drinking casually, and if you don't get that habit in check, it can spiral out of control into an addiction. So what happens when you are anxious is that you not only start to worry, but your body starts to feel really anxious too. Your heart will race. You might start sweating. Your throat can get dry. You can get a pit in your stomach. And when you start to feel the physical sensations of worry and anxiety, and then you got your mind drifting over to something's going wrong,
right,
that is when you can start to really deal with anxiety. And if you have anxiety, you're not alone. They say that 30% of women suffer from anxiety at some point in their lives. I will tell you, I have been really startled by the number of men that come up to me at the end of speeches that I give as I'm on the corporate circuit giving, keynotes, that come up and say, do you have any more information about anxiety? Do you have any more information about anxiety? And 9 times out of 10, it's for them. And I think with all the rapid change in the world and technology and how much, in everybody's jobs things are innovating, there is a rise in this habit of worrying, the sense of a loss of control, and feeling anxious is very normal. So, we talked a little bit about, I believe that you can control your mind. It's important for you to foundationally understand that anxiety and worry are the same thing. It's just that your body starts to get agitated, and that's when we call worrying anxiety. And you can actually beat it. Now, the key is stabilizing your thoughts. And you can use the 5-second rule to do that. One other thing I want to explain to you, and this is something that I was just on with Dr. Oz on his syndicated talk show talking about, is this exact conversation. How do you use the 5-second rule to cure your anxiety, to control your emotions, to stop yourself from melting down? And here's something that you need to understand. First of all, when it comes to your body, in your body, there's no difference in your body between feeling excited and feeling anxious. No difference whatsoever. So what do you feel when you're excited about something? You're going to go to, who's somebody you would love to see in concert?
Sting.
Okay, Sting. So Sting is playing. You've got incredible tickets. You are standing right there at the stage. The music's starting. He's about to come on. What are you feeling in your body?
Those butterflies, that kind of, the literal kind of flutter inside.
Yes, exactly. And that we call excitement because you're there, you're going to see Sting, this is going to be amazing. Now, when you're worried about something or you're anxious about something, maybe you have to speak up, maybe you have to give a speech, maybe you have a tough conversation that you've got to have about the IEP for your kid and the advocacy that they need. Maybe you got to talk about your, getting a raise. Maybe you've launched a new business and you really want to share it with your friend. Right before you're about to do that thing that you've never done, that you feel a little uncertain or a little insecure about, right? What does your body feel like? Exact same thing, right? Yeah. You got the butterflies. You might start sweating a little bit. Your heart might race. Now, the only difference between Shelby being at the Sting concert and you standing outside the meeting at your kid's school going in to talk about IEPs and, getting help for your kid, which was something that made me very nervous. The only difference between those two scenarios, because our bodies are doing the same thing, is that Shelby's brain is saying, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, Sting is about to come. Oh my gosh, she's not saying, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. Oh my gosh, I'm at a concert. And oh, something must be wrong because I'm feeling butterflies. No, she's like, Sting's about to come, yes! Right?
Yeah.
Your brain is telling you. Your brain has context. In this situation over here, you see a friend. You have this new business you've launched. You really want to share this idea with your friend. But you got butterflies in your stomach. Your brain says something different than what Shelby's brain is saying. It's going, uh-oh. She might think you're pushy. Maybe you shouldn't talk to her. This is not a good idea. You're not fully trained yet in this stuff. Or, you're not ready to have this conversation. Or who do you think you are to have this conversation? Or, no. Your mind starts to get worried and basically says a bunch of negative garbage. Your body, by the way, excitement, fear, same thing. Excitement, anxiety, same thing. Excitement, uncertainty, same thing. Excitement, fear, exact same thing in your body. She's not afraid of Sting coming on stage, but her body is having all the same signals as if you were afraid of him. Seriously. So the only difference between excitement, fear, anxiety, worry, uncertainty, and stress is what your brain says it is. We can use that to our advantage to cure anxiety and to cure the habits of self-doubt. Here's how you're going to do it. You're going to use the 5-second rule to trick your mind into thinking that you're excited instead of thinking thoughts that actually expand the nerves, the anxiousness, all that stuff. So you use the 5-second rule in combination with what we call an anchor thought. An anchor thought is a thought that makes you excited. It's a thought that makes you happy. It's a thought that will help you stabilize your brain. Because Shelby could have easily, at the Sting concert, taken the butterflies in her stomach and started catastrophizing.
Right.
Sting's not coming. I'm going to get trampled.
Right.
I feel claustrophobic. Oh my God. Like, you could have done that, but she didn't, because her brain had something else that it was willing to anchor on, to ground her, right? In excitement. So what you're going to do, let's just take the scenario of you have a meeting that's making you really anxious. You have a presentation you're going to have to give. You have something that's important to you, and you're worried you're not going to be able to make this sale happen or make the IEP happen or whatever it may be. Outside the meeting, the moment you feel yourself starting to worry, the butterflies are kicking in, you're starting to go Niagara Falls down under your armpits, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, why would you want to count? The reason why you want to count is because, remember, thinking patterns can be habits. And so when you get into the habit of doubting yourself and worrying, you're now in the interior part of your brain, and that can easily take over and expand and escalate the situation. So you want to cut that off, and you want to stabilize what's happening by activating your prefrontal cortex. You're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's going to activate this puppy up here. Now that your mind is awakened in terms of the frontal lobe being awakened, you're ready to accept a new thought. You can't just stand there outside I've tried this. I've had psychologists for years tell me, oh, just change the channel.
Right.
Your brain is like a TV, just change the channel. No, it's not. My brain is more like a freight train that is moving at an agitated state of 65 miles an hour. And if I try to just switch the thought, the train is going to jump the tracks.
Yeah.
You cannot go from a state of agitation to you can't do it.
Right.
But you can slow a state of agitation down. And the way you do it is the 5-second rule. So you're feeling the butterflies, you're feeling the nerves, you're feeling the armpit sweating. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That'll stabilize the situation and stop your mind from expanding and making it worse. Now you can take that anchor thought. Pick something before the meeting. This is critical. Don't try to create an anchor thought where you're freaked out. Pick something beforehand. So in the case that I'm using, that was my situation of going and talking to the school about my son's dyslexia and the IEP and everything else that he was needing in terms of special ed, I was picking a vision of him sitting in a classroom with the tools that he needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And coming home and being really like happy.
Right.
And the second that I would feel I'd be in the meeting and the teacher would say something that was like stern, so that I'm like, uh-oh, she's not on our side, I'd be like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm picturing my son with, the vision of him coming home. He's actually reading, like this is incredible. And that stabilizes the worry. And so now I'm in control of my thoughts, and I haven't done what I used to do, which is the second I start feeling the pit in my stomach, my thoughts go catastrophic. They're not going to give him the services. My son is going to never read. He's going to be bullied. This is going to...
Right.
And now, by the way, if I would have allowed that to happen, when your mind starts to go worry and anxious, it hijacks your thinking capacity. They've done all these studies with brain capacity about what happens to your mind when you worry. And you actually cannot focus on anything else once it gets too big.
Right.
So using this technique, you'll be able to stay present in a meeting. You'll be able to stay present in a situation. You'll be able to stay present in a conversation or with another person or on a plane so that you can control what you're thinking. And so I personally have used 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, marry it with an anchor thought to cure myself of anxiety. I haven't taken Zoloft in 4 years. I haven't had a panic attack. I don't even worry about anything. And this ties into confidence so tightly, because confidence is a skill, and it's a skill that you build. And you build it only one way. You cannot think your way to being more confident. You have to prove it to yourself through action. And the thing about confidence that's really interesting is that the more that you start to use it to stop worrying, you'll actually see yourself moving forward in your life.
Using confidence to stop,
using the 5-second rule
okay.
to stop worrying.
Yeah.
It's just a tool, that's all it is.
Right.
It's just a little tool that helps you wake up and, kind of take control and redirect your thoughts and really have power in the moment and power over your decisions. But there's a really important connection to confidence, because as you start to lower self-doubt and worry, right, you will actually be able to push yourself to take actions or to speak up when normally you wouldn't. When you see yourself taking those actions, and when you see yourself beating fear and your excuses, you build the skill of confidence. You're seeing yourself as the kind of person that you can rely on. And that is what confidence is. Confidence is not a personality trait. It's actually the ability to go from thought into action.
So to trust yourself that you can do this, that,
yes,
that you're
and,
capable of
yes,
doing it.
And I think it's even more than that. I think it's this idea that, because you might not trust yourself.
Right.
I think that confidence is the willingness to try, knowing that you'll either succeed or you'll survive. Right? You're going to either succeed or you're going to survive, but damn it, you're going to try.
Right.
And when you become the kind of person that has that mentality of, hey, I'll either survive this conversation, or I'm going to be successful.
Yeah.
But either way, I'm going to have it. That is the mental shift that will help you start to build the skill of confidence. And most people think that hey, confidence is a belief. It is, the more that you see yourself doing things and the more you build competency in something, you start to have less anxiety about it, right? So that's why you believe in yourself.
Right.
But for those of us that don't believe in ourselves, being told that confidence is believing in yourself, that is horrible advice, because you don't know what to do. Well, I don't believe in myself, so don't tell me confidence is believing in myself. I know I don't. Tell me how to build confidence.
Right.
Well, confidence is built one push at a time. Confidence is built by wrangling those thoughts that you have that stop you, tuning them down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and pushing forward, knowing you'll succeed or you'll survive, but damn it, you're going to try.
Well, I like that dichotomy between not succeed or fail, but succeed or survive.
Correct.
That this isn't, whatever you're scared of doing, one, the fact that you're scared of it shows that you're worried about it. And you're saying that worry is a habit.
Yeah.
You're used to going to worst case scenario in your
Totally.
mind.
And that's, by the way, the worst case scenario is your brain's way to protect you from doing something that is uncertain or scary or new. So part of your wiring is that you're hardwired in your brain to, within an instant, go worst case scenario, because your brain is worried about things that are uncertain, scary, or new. So yes, it's a habit, and it's also a mechanism in your mind that is tricking you into staying safe.
And so the key then to confidence, one, so you're saying that confidence it's not a trait, it's a skill.
Yes.
So implying that
Let
it
me
can
prove
be
it to you.
built, it
Yes.
can be practiced.
Oh, absolutely. Let me prove it to you. If I told you right now that to list everybody in your life that makes you feel good about yourself, okay? Those are people that make you feel confident. Now list everybody in your life that when you're around them, you shrink. You feel a little uncomfortable. You feel a little on edge. You don't feel like you can trust them. Those are people that make you feel like insecure. So confidence there are certain areas of your life where you are confident. There's certain areas in your life where you're not confident. There are skills that you have, whether it's cooking or gardening or selling, or my husband is like the greatest guy on the planet with Excel. He can do anything on an Excel spreadsheet. And I can't do anything on an Excel spreadsheet. But so there are skills that you know you can do. You don't even have to think about it. You're not worried about having to do it. I'm that same way about public speaking. Don't even have to think about it. Don't even have to worry, because I've practiced it for so long. There are things that I'm terrible at, that I lack confidence in. But I could build confidence by practicing it. I could build confidence in myself around people that make me insecure if I were to study the triggers as to why I feel insecure. If I were to have conversations with those people, or if I were to become confident enough to distance myself. So your confidence is a skill set, like a muscle, that gets built based on experiences, based on the actions that you take, and it's something that's fully within your control and that can be worked on. And for women, oh my gosh, the number one factor in a woman's success is confidence. perceived confidence
Yeah.
more important than anything. More important than anything.
So self-confidence or perceived confidence, are those different things?
Very different things. So confidence, there are basically a couple different buckets of confidence. There's the internal mindset confidence that a lot of us don't have, that you can build as a skill through action. There is the competency confidence that comes through gaining by practicing competency. And then there is the external confidence that you project that other people perceive. Here's something that every single woman needs to know. Harvard Business School just wrote up about this study where they asked a ton of managers across different industries, what is the number one reason why you're not promoting your female, people that you're managing? Do you know what the manager said? Number one reason. I thought she lacked the confidence for the new role. Now here's the kicker. A kick in the gut, by the way, is that the managers were uncomfortable telling you, the woman, that she lacked confidence. Well, because they didn't want to be called sexist, and more importantly, they had no idea how to actually coach somebody into becoming more confident. If you're perceived as confident, you make more money, you advance faster, you have more satisfaction in what you're doing. And the thing that I want every single woman on the planet to understand is that confidence is not a personality trait. You can be extroverted and talk a lot and have zero belief in yourself. That's how I used to be. I used to be the loudmouth, bossy person that didn't believe a word that was coming out of my mouth, didn't like myself, none of it. There are tons of folks that are insecure, that it's uncomfortable to talk into a meeting. You're not lacking confidence, you believe in your ideas, you're lacking the courage to actually step out of your comfort zone. The one piece of advice that I want every single woman to know is that there are two kinds of work. There's visible work and there's invisible work. You only get credit for visible work. Visible work is how you behave in a meeting. That's a very, very important place to practice the skill of confidence. What do you do to practice the skill of confidence? Number one, stop taking notes and just take note. If you have an important meeting, I used to be a lawyer, and you need all the details, hit the memo transcribe thing on your phone. Let Siri take the notes for you. Then take that file, go straight to YouTube, make it a private file, upload it. You know what YouTube will do?
Transcribe it.
Transcribe it for free. So now you got your notes. But I don't ever want to see you in a meeting like this. Not like this.
Because what is that?
You're in a visible place. What you're projecting is that you're not part of the meeting. You're just there taking notes. Your physicality is bent over, so now your brain is focused on transcribing. I want you sitting back. I want you jotting, taking note about a few things, and then I want you to do something that may feel uncomfortable. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do not leave a meeting without ever talking. Don't do it. It is a very visible place for you to be seen. Here's another thing I want you to do. If you're uncomfortable sharing your ideas, and I have been startled by the number of people that write us from around the world that say that their biggest fear in their career was actually speaking in meetings and sharing their ideas. Biggest fear. And they started using the 5-second rule, changing everything about their career trajectory. So one of the things I want you to do in meetings, obviously just take note, don't take notes. I want you to speak in a meeting. If you're uncomfortable, you don't have to share an idea. Comment. You know, I know we're wrapping up, but I just wanted to say in listening to all these ideas, I think Shelby's suggestion was a really important strategic consideration that I really liked a lot. That's it. Now, did you pick up on one word that I used?
No.
Strategic. They have done studies. This is psycho research, because it'll make you really mad when you hear this. They've done studies where they coach women executives to use the word strategic in visible settings. Conversations with your bosses, how you behave in meetings, emails. Within 1 year of coaching women, just to say the stupid word, strategic, strategery.
Strategery,
yes. The annual reviews and the remarks for how executives are perceived as strategic contributors jumps dramatically. Simply by using the word. Here's another thing to pay attention to. Your emails. Are they to the point? Do you have the confidence to write an email that is to the point, or do you ramble and go all over the place and the I thinks and explain yourself? So The most important thing that you can develop and work on for yourself, particularly for women, is the skill of confidence. Pay attention to visible versus invisible work. Raise your visibility by practicing small acts of confidence. Use the 5-second rule to interrupt the habits of taking notes, of saying I'm sorry, of writing long-winded emails, of not elevating your ideas.
Right.
And you'll be surprised by what happens.
There's a lot here to talk about, and that's the thing. I wish we could go on for hours.
Well, what's something that your success readers and your listeners what are some of the big issues? And I'll tell you how to use the 5-second rule to immediately, in combination with the latest research, to solve them.
Well, and I think anxiety is a big one there.
Yeah.
Because that's something that people don't talk about.
Yes.
And especially, I love the fact that you said that, you take medication for your heart, you take medication for diabetes.
Yeah.
Some people have to take medication for anxiety and for depression.
Yes.
I think that's an important point, because people will automatically, when you're beating yourself up in your brain, you are also thinking that it's something to be ashamed of if you're suffering from anxiety or if you're suffering from depression.
Welcome to the club.
And that's the thing, is that's what I love what you're saying, though, is that everybody has it. Really, everybody does.
Yeah, and if you don't have it, somebody you love does.
Yeah.
And so understanding what it is and what it isn't is super, super important. And if you have somebody that has panic attacks, that's even one more step removed from anxiety. We talked about anxiety and worry earlier. When somebody that you love goes into a state of panic, what we know is that their bodies have now gotten the body experience, the heart racing, the sweating, because they didn't stabilize their thoughts, and the spotlight effect took over, and now the brain is magnifying what's going on. Now the brain is in an emergency state. And the brain is now really believes that you're having a heart attack, or believes that your life is in danger. So if you have a loved one that suffers from panic attacks, what you've probably experienced is that they immediately need to leave the room. They immediately start thinking that they're having a heart attack. Now, the reason why your brain goes into that DEFCON 10 kind of mode is because if you're standing in your kitchen and you're getting ready for the day, and you have a loved one that's anxious about what's about to happen. Maybe it's a tough conversation at work. Maybe there's a presentation. Maybe they have to travel. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe they just have a panic attacks because it's become a habit, a default mode that's encoded. It just is what it is. And they all of a sudden start to freak out. Oh my God, something's wrong. I can't, like my son would be like, I can't drink. Something's in my throat. Like he would What's happening is your mind. Let's go back to the example of Shelby being at the Sting concert. When she's at the Sting concert and her body starts to get butterflies, the mind has context for why there are butterflies, and it calls it excitement. If you're standing in your kitchen and you start to obsess over a conversation you need to have with your boss, or you start to obsess over something that you're nervous about doing in the business that you're building, and your body starts to then match those thoughts, and you get the butterflies and the sweats, first level is going to be anxiety. The thoughts are going to start to spiral. You're going to start to obsess over what you have to do. You're going to do that worst case scenario thing. If you don't 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and stabilize your mind and interrupt that pattern, what's going to happen next is your body will go into full panic mode. Because if your thoughts get super crazy and worried, your brain is going to start to go, holy, what is going on? She must be having a heart attack because she's standing in a kitchen and this doesn't make any sense. Why would her body be freaking out?
Right.
Your body's freaking out because I've let my thoughts go bananas. So now my heart's really racing. So now my mind's going, maybe she is having a heart attack. Right. Maybe there is something wrong. Maybe there's something in this room. And so your mind goes into overdrive. Now, have you ever had the experience where you hear a loud noise and you're like that?
Yeah.
There are two responses, automatic responses that we're born with in our brains to protect us. One is ducking our heads. Even a baby, the age of 6 months, ducks their head at a loud noise. Highly instinctual behavior to protect you.
Yeah.
Another one is to reach out and stabilize yourself as you're falling. So as you get kind of wobbly, you don't even think about it. Your mind takes over and directs your body.
Yeah.
So if you develop a habit of anxiety and panic attacks, basically you're escalating everyday life concerns through this funnel from worry to anxiety, to the anxiety then escalating the body, to now your mind going, holy cow, I better protect them.
Right.
So that's why they get you out of the room. That's why you start to think you're dying, so that you'll get help. So that's why it's so important for you to start by addressing and fighting any worry that you have and redirecting your thoughts. If you start to struggle with anxiety, that's why it's so important to start using this strategy 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now an anchor thought, to stabilize the thoughts. And if you have panic attacks, same thing, exact same thing. Now, it's going to be very hard to get somebody out of a panic attack. The best way to deal with a panic attack is to just sit with the person and say, and what else? And what else? Tell me what else you're worried about. Tell me, because if you can get all those thoughts out of the head.
So tell them to verbalize all that stuff.
Yes. Talk. And then slowly, and have them walk as they're doing it. Because the physicality of it kind of unwinds it.
Yeah.
And then, when they're just kind of buzzing, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now let's go to the anchor thought.
Okay.
That's how you deal with it.
Excellent.
Oh, trust me. I've done it with myself. My husband's done it with me. My kids have it works like a charm. I remember when my son was really struggling with anxiety, we were driving, he was trying to build up to doing a sleepover, and we used this technique, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, with an anchor thought of him being super excited and waking up happy and all this stuff. And there's research out of Harvard that's recently been published where they call it, I think they call it, it's not reframing, it's reappraising performance anxiety, if you want to Google it. Reappraising performance anxiety. They did this test where they had people that were about to either run a race, sing in a karaoke contest, or take a test, use a strategy very similar to what I'm talking about. So right before you're about to take a test or run a race, we all have performance anxiety, right? So they trained kids in control groups. One control group would say, I'm excited. I'm excited to run this race. I'm excited to take this test. I'm excited to give this speech. The other group, they told them to just think positive thoughts without the I'm excited. Because remember what we talked about in the beginning. Shelby being at the Sting concert being excited, exact same body state as me standing outside a meeting for my dyslexic son's IEP. Butterflies, flutterflies. She's excited, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
So they had students, before they were about to perform, track or whatever, or karaoke, I'm excited. In every single instance, every single one, they perform better. Why? Because by saying I'm excited, you give your mind context for the butterflies, and guess what else it does? It doesn't allow worry to hijack your mind, so you can actually now have your full prefrontal cortex to focus on performing, because you're not focused on managing all this garbage.
Right.
Works in study after study after study. Not only, you might not lose the jitters, but you gain control of your brain.
Right. That's a huge thing right there. Terrific. Thank you so much, Mel, for joining us, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Absolutely.